Group, and we'll be hearing from Adam in a little bit. It's obviously great to see you all here, and I was thinking I was writing this despite the third lockdown, and what a pretty awful start to 2021 really. So not a great opening to one of the first events, but I think looking forward more positively, some really good news on the horizon, I think, with the vaccine rollout. So I honestly hope we can just get through this last stretch of what's been a really difficult time for a lot of businesses over the last year and progress in a more positive way as the year goes on. And really that's what this session is all about. It's about looking for new opportunities and, most importantly, I think increasing sales and increasing profits, because there's no doubt with all of the kind of groups we've managed and research we've done that these are the two of the greatest challenges throughout 2020. So really hoping we can help out with that a bit, and thanks, that leads me on nicely to thanking our sponsors for today, our speakers for today. So to Adam, our sponsor from EBC Group, hear from you in a minute. To Colin Fulford from B Lighting, Director at B Lighting, be hearing from you later, and also to Gail Goldman and to Carl Badham, Director and Regional Sales Director at LocalIQ. So thank you all again for your time and your presentations and the effort that you've put into joining us and preparing for the group today. So quick update from me, just to highlight a couple of topical programmes going on at the moment in case you hadn't heard of them. It's really the last couple of days and last two places left on the peer-to-peer network that we're delivering on behalf of the Local Enterprise Partnership and County Council in Worcestershire. So that is just for Worcestershire businesses, unfortunately. But there is 18 hours of free support, facilitated learning with a really good leadership consultant, and access to other experts as required. It's 21 hours free support in total, and that goes over 3 months, so not 21 hours concentrated. So a good time to spread it out. And the really important thing, that the clues in the title, peer-to-peer networks, it's about a group of businesses coming together and having a look at some of the problems and challenges between each other, really, with that facilitated learner. So if anyone's interested in that, drop us a line quite urgently after this meeting. And other than that, I was just going to highlight a couple of events and a report, our employment report that we ran in the sort of summer, autumn last year. That report's now out and it's online, so check it out on the website. Might be useful as a backdrop, particularly in terms of planning for the future, so I thought relevant for today. And we have got an event to discuss that report on the 5th of February coming up, so if you want to join that, you're more than welcome. And a couple of ones into the future, really, give you a bit of a taste of the first quarter of 2021. We've got our economic conference now planned for the 16th of March. So again, if that's of interest, let us know. And we will be hot off the press running a West Midlands virtual expo, week commencing the 22nd of March. It's going to be a week-long event, a real celebration of businesses looking forward to the spring and into the summer of 2021. So I'm quite excited about that one, and hopefully more details to follow later. But in the meantime, that's all from me. I'm going to hand over to Adam today as an introduction to the Growth Forum. So Adam, over to you.
Hi, can you hear me? Yeah. Hi, I'm Adam. I'm the marketing manager from EBC Group. We're a IT services, managed services company that help support and work with our clients on their technology. We're delighted to be sponsoring another Growth Forum today, and thank you for the Chamber for hosting, as always. Thank you to LocalIQ and B Lighting. I'm really looking forward to hearing from this morning on their growth stories. Can't believe we're back in another, well, I can't believe, but we're back in another lockdown. It seems every time we do one of these forums, we're either just out of the lockdown or just going back in. So it's been a really difficult time for everyone, I'm sure. In terms of how we've been working with our clients, in the early days of the lockdown, almost a year ago now, sort of the rush for getting people to remote working was really key, and I think most businesses now are hopefully better suited to remote working, to connecting their employees together. Sharon mentioned the employment survey that we sponsored in conjunction with the Chamber and Hewitt Recruitment, and there were a couple of interesting things that came out from that in terms of technology. One of which, from our point of view, which showed 78% of businesses had adopted a new technology during the pandemic. So it really showed how people were using technology to help. Probably it might have been anything from, there were a range of things people said, but video conferencing and collaboration tools were the most popular. But also that 62% of businesses are expecting to invest in technology as a direct result of the pandemic. So it's no surprise really that it's really changed the way we've worked, and technology's become key to that. And as I said, a lot of our clients, we've sort of helped through that initial phase, and now they're looking for the next step in their growth and progression. It's a topic that we've been talking about quite a lot, but digital transformation and the digital workplace. So how you can now take this new way that we're working and really use it to your advantage is going to be high on the agenda. How businesses can automate manual processes, how they can use the data in their business, are all going to be really, really key. And just as a small plug, we've got a EBC Group are holding a webinar next Thursday on robotic process automation, or RPA, which sounds quite futuristic, but is a quite simple tool that a lot of businesses, from big enterprise businesses to smaller SMEs, are using, which can save huge amounts of time on manual processes. It helps to automate processes that would otherwise take a long time to do, imitating what a human would do in terms of those processes, speeding them up, making them more accurate. So if anyone's interested in RPA, robotic process automation, or digital transformation, then take a look on our news section on our website or our social media channels for more details on that webinar. That's it from me this morning. Really looking forward to hearing from our speakers this morning. So over to them. Thank you.
That sounds futuristic. Thanks, Adam. I'm definitely going to check that out after. This sounds really interesting. Thank you for that. And without further ado, really to hand over to Director of Be Lighting, to Colin Fulford. Thanks, Colin.
Hi, everyone. So I'll take it off mute. I'm still learning. Hi everybody. I'm Director of Be Lighting, and I'm here to talk to you today about our growth story. So I've got a bit of a slideshow I'll put together, which I thought I'd just take you through, and basically share our story. Okay, so as I mentioned, I am Colin Fulford, Operations Director here at Be Lighting. For those of you who don't know, we are a Redditch-based design and manufacturing company. We design and manufacture automotive lighting for some of the world's biggest automakers and for some of the most prestigious supercars.
Sorry to
so
interrupt
you can see there
Colin.
we were established in...
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, Colin. We can't see your screen, your presentation. I'm not sure if that's what's supposed to be up right now.
You can't see it?
No, sorry.
What can you see?
Just you.
Well, we can see all the group. I can see all the groups still.
So the green share screen button at the bottom, have you tried that?
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, there you go. I got click share. There you go.
Yes, that's working. There we go.
That's it. If you want to put it into,
okay.
yeah, oh, that's
Lovely.
it.
Right.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
Sorry,
I'll let you carry
no,
on.
that's my fault. Technology, I'm not very good with it. I'm too old. Okay, so as you can see there, we were established in 2006. So 2021 is our 15-year anniversary. So we actually celebrated that last Monday. So today, our promotional material looks like this. Something we're very, very proud of. We've actually worked on all of those vehicles, and we supply the lighting for, we have supplied the lighting for all of them, all the exterior lighting. So when I talk about that, I mean headlights, tail lights, any of the small lights. If you came to visit us today, you would come into our 18,000 square foot manufacturing facility. We've also got design offices and test and validation facilities as well. What you're looking at there is actually our clean room facility, which was purpose built in 2016. And this is where we assemble all of our lighting products. There's another picture. Again, we're very, very proud of this. The whole team is really proud of what we've achieved with that. So in 15 years, what's changed and where's the growth? I guess could be a good question, because it all looks pretty well established and everything's happy and everyone's fine. If you came to visit us in 2006, you would have come to our 240 square foot office, which is just around the corner in Redditch, and you would have come across myself and Paul, who started the company 15 years ago. That's actually a picture of both of us with less grey hair and probably a little bit less weight. This is, yeah, just our design office. That's how we started. So I'm sure you'll agree, it's a pretty big transformation, and we've seen quite a lot of growth, a lot of change. So while I was putting this presentation together, I was trying to think of the reasons that have really driven our growth, and work out the reasons why we've done what we've done. Yeah, obviously there's been a significant amount of growth, so I really wanted to understand and try and put across what were those changes, what drove the growth. So the following is a brief overview. It's basically a graph which shows our number of employees back in 2006 all the way up to 2020, which is the blue bar graph, and then the orange line is our turnover every year. So I'll just run you through this. So in 2006, we incorporated, as I said, it was the 11th of January. There was 2 of us, 2 employees. B Design Consultancy was what we were called. We had a turnover of 168,000 in the first year, and things were okay. We worked pretty hard. We got the job done. It didn't matter what we did, whether we had to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It was just constant. We just got the job done no matter what. It was very much hand to mouth, as you can imagine. 2006, we'd increased to 3, so we employed our first employee in 2007, sorry. What this did was it gave us the space to be able to go out and win more business. So instead of winning a job and then coming back, working on it, and then finishing it and then having to go back out and find something else, we were able to actually just keep the consistent workflow. So it helped us to get a bit more turnover and have a bit more consistency in the business. The next big change was in 2009. We'd gone to 9 employees. We won our first major design project, which was to design all the exterior lighting for this Lamborghini Aventador, which we did in 2009, 2010. That helped us to grow the team, and we added a lot more expertise into our team. I should just say, between those years, we were not just focused on lighting, which is why we were called B Design. We were basically a design consultancy. So we weren't focused on lighting just yet. 2010, we had 10 employees. We decided to have a change of strategy where we were going to go from a design project-based company into a manufacturing company, so a design and manufacturing company. What we decided this would do is give us an ongoing revenue stream once projects had finished and create some stability for the team that we were growing, because obviously that was becoming important to us. 2011, we were up to 12 employees, and we had our first road-going vehicle project for McLaren. We actually produced 3 full sets of lights for this vehicle, which was for the Prince of Bahrain, who's one of the stakeholders in McLaren at the time. So that was a very big project for us. It allowed us again to carry on building the team, increased our turnover. You can see on the graph there. 2012, we were up to 15 employees. And this was our first, I call it volume production job. We had to make 16 of these cars. This was a Lamborghini Veneno. I think it was a £2 million car, which they made 16 of. I think most of them went to America, mainly ended up in LA. There's lots of YouTube videos about them. All of those have got our lights on that we designed here in Redditch, and then we manufactured here in Redditch in a small unit. Yeah, in the centre of Redditch, basically. Okay, so 2013, we were up to 21 employees, and we decided to move into volume manufacture. We'd obviously seen what we could do with the low volume, but we wanted to go for the more higher volume to, again, try and get some stability into the team, make sure that job security was okay, and get that ongoing revenue once we'd finished projects. So that was 2013. 2014, we developed our own lamp, which is it's only a very small lamp. It's a license plate lamp which goes on to every McLaren. In 2014, we sold 15,000 of these to McLaren. Today, we still manufacture this product, and we sell around 30 to 40,000 of these a year to McLaren alone. We also sell them to Ford for the Ford GT and a number of other smaller customers. So yes, well-established product now, but that really was a game changer for us. 2015, we decided that we were really going to focus on lighting. So we rebranded at that time from B Design to B Lighting. 2015 was a very busy year as well. During the year, we won the development contract for the Ford GT. So all the exterior lighting on the Le Mans winning Ford GT was designed here in Redditch by us. We then went on to win the manufacturing contract, which we're still manufacturing now, and the production of that will be ongoing until 2023. What that allowed us to do was invest in the Merse Road site that I'm sat in today, which is the clean room that I showed you a minute ago. So 2016, we were up to 36 employees, and we completed the development of the Merse Road site. So this photo was actually taken on the 23rd of December 2016. The first piece of equipment moved into the build area, to the clean room, and yeah, we went from there. I think probably wasn't the highlight of 2016. The highlight of 2016 was obviously winning the Chamber of Commerce Small Business of the Year, which we won Hereford and Worcester. Then we won the regional final at West Midlands, and then we went down to London and we won the national final. So I've actually got goosebumps now when I think about it. Really, really proud of what we did with that. I still can't believe that we won that at national level. It was, yeah, fantastic. Really, really good for the team. Everyone was really, really pleased. So 2017, when I was writing this presentation, I actually left 2017 out. You can see it's a bit of a flat year. This was where I've got the picture there of the Ford GT headlight. This is where we basically went into the volume manufacture of this product. It was a really, really tough year for us, trying to get the quality right. We'd set up a new facility, and we were trying to get this new product launched with a new customer who had unbelievably high standards for their lighting. So we had to try and meet that. So 2017 was a really tough year. And I think, interestingly, that's reflected in the turnover. I mean, it's obviously fairly flat there. It probably wasn't the best year we've ever had. And like I say, it was really, really difficult. I'll go on to that a little bit more in a minute. 2018, we kind of pulled through a little bit more. And at the end of 2018, we were up to 53 employees, and we actually gained an investment from Pectron, which is a privately owned UK electronics company, which is based in Derby. This is kind of a strategic partnership, really, because what it's done, it's given us access to UK electronics supply, as well as expertise in finance, manufacture, and electronics engineering. So yeah, it was one of the real turning points for us. So you can see there our turnover has increased. We're now up to just over 70 employees. We turn over just shy of 10 million in the last year, so 2020. Order books for this year will see us increase 30% this year. So we're still showing significant growth, despite, and I would say, despite COVID. I mean, this year it's been our best year so far. So yeah, we've done. I think the team really has done a really good job of putting the business through this difficult year. The future will obviously continue to grow. We continue to gain market share and grow the team. We are trying to add more volume to the production facility. Some of those are the projects that we're winning at the moment, and they'll see us create more jobs and more security. So we're still ongoing. The growth is still ongoing, and we're still still increasing in turnover and also in number of employees. So obviously with this growth, there's been quite a few changes and quite a few challenges through the time. But there's been one thing that I think has been unchanged. The thing that has been unchanged is our belief in the UK and the talent that we have here. And that goes right from design all the way through the engineering into the manufacture and all of the support services we have around those parts of the business. Everybody here is, a great asset to this business, and I believe that the UK has a really good pool of people that we can pull from, and I think we, during these difficult times, that's definitely what we should be doing. So yeah, that's definitely been unchanged for us. In terms of the team, well, the team has obviously changed. We've grown in numbers quite considerably, from 2 to 70. It's quite a big change. We've actually gone to 72 already this year, so it's always on the up. The key to it has been getting the right people in the right places. It's not always difficult. It's not always easy. It's sometimes very difficult to do that. But we're really confident in the team of people that we've got now, and I think that is one of the keys to the success of this business is the people that are here and that we've recruited. A big part of that is being able to give people growth as well. So there's the people growth part of it. We're continuously creating the opportunities for people to grow within the business. So if people start here today as, a quality engineer, they can quite soon become a quality manager, or, they can move up through the business all the time. There's always opportunities for people to grow. So we've never forgotten that. We've got to keep pushing that as well. In terms of change, the company's changed quite a lot. Managing that growth and the change has been pretty tough at times, in both from both a people and a financial perspective. It's been very challenging. We've had some really difficult times. We've got through it, and again, I think it's because of the people that we have that we've managed to get through that. But one of the things that I think, certainly on a personal level, has changed is the changing role. So if I think back to the beginning, when we first started here 15 years ago, mine and Paul's jobs was basically a role of design engineer. We were just design engineers designing stuff, and we were sending it to a customer, and that was it. We've then gone through the small business owner part of it as well, so where we have to know everything about the business and we're constantly driving it forwards. We've now got a significant group of people here. 70 people is quite a lot of people, and I think our roles has really changed quite a lot. So our role now is more of a leadership role. We've got a lot of people relying on us to lead them in the right direction. Obviously, it's quite a lot of pressure, but it's really good. And I think we're doing a good job. Like I say, we've got a really good team of people here that are helping us to do this. So yeah, that's, I believe, how we've done it. It has been a difficult journey. It's been extremely rewarding as well. Sometimes when I stand out in the production facility and look at it, I just feel immensely proud of what we've achieved. And I do share that as well with the guys that have helped us to do that quite regularly. What I would say, if there's anybody out there who's contemplating taking on the challenge of starting and growing a business, then I'll definitely say, yeah, just go for it. Obviously, make sure you've done your due diligence and you know what you're doing, but I don't think you regret it. Just go for it. So that concludes my presentation. You'll be pleased to know. Thank you very much for listening. I hope it's been interesting and I hope it's been useful. I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody might have. Thank you.
Colin, that's absolutely amazing. First of all, happy anniversary. I didn't realise it was that anniversary. So yeah, congratulations. And it is an amazing story. Thanks so much for sharing it with us all. I think so many people can be inspired by that. I can't imagine the challenges that you went through every single year on that journey. I mean, I was just thinking about the one from design to manufacturing. I mean, that decision must have been absolutely huge for you. But then actually you went on and almost there was a decision just as big every single year, right up until 2020. So well done to you guys.
Yeah, and it's ongoing as well. I mean, it's not got any easier. It's just different problems in it this year. The big one's COVID, but I think
I was thinking that it can't have been an easy journey, but then you sort of said about the reward that you've got from it. I was just wondering if you ever miss being a design engineer.
So I do it on the weekends sometimes.
It's amazing. Thank you. Can you stop sharing your screen, sure. Colin? Thank you so much again. And just so I can see everyone else, I was just wondering, if we've got a few minutes for questions. Did anybody want to ask Colin anything? I mean, if you just come off mute, there's not too many that I can see all on one screen. Anyone got any questions?
Excuse me. Hi, Colin. How are you doing?
Hi, John. Hi.
I just wanted to ask a question. How do you end up going from being a design agency based in Redditch, relatively small in your early days, to winning a contract to design a light for Lamborghini, one of the most prestigious kind of supercar makers out there? That's just an amazing kind of contract to win, and obviously clearly kick-started the growth of your company. But how do you end up getting there?
I think sometimes I do think about this quite often, and probably completely the wrong answer, but the one I quite often come up with is that there's a lot of luck in it. I think we've obviously got a really good team of people here. Me and Paul were we were design engineers. We had a pretty good reputation anyway. But even at that point, we'd assembled quite a good team of people with a good reputation. I think, so there's partly that. I think there's a little bit of luck in there as well. Obviously, you've got to be in the right place at the right time, talking to the right people, and how those things come together, I don't know. So I don't really have a definite answer, other than it's just kind of, you've got to be ready to take the opportunity as well, I think is the main thing. Kind of spot it and go for it when it's there. But I'd be lying if I wasn't saying if I didn't say there was a little bit of luck in there, because I think there is. I could see a few people laughing at me, but I think it's true.
No, definitely agree with that. No, well, congratulations anyway, because that was a great story. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Anyone else? One more quick question. Otherwise, we'll move on. Conscious of everyone's time. Nothing as such. Okay, thanks very much, Colin.
I think is John trying to ask a question?
I'm just going to ask a question. Obviously, going from right at the start, managing yourselves, just a couple of you, now to 70 must be a nightmare. And you've got a few HR people on here, like Claire and Keris, who'll just be wondering how you're managing 70 people going from looking after yourself.
Well, we do have. I know Dawn's not on today, but we do have we've had some good support over the years from the Chamber of Commerce, and I should say in lots of respects. I mean, when we went back in I think it was 2010, we first engaged with Nick Corley from UKTI, and we used the Chamber a lot over the last 10, 11 years, and we're still engaged with them. So Dawn helps us out a lot with our HR. We do have a small HR team here. We've also got a HR team within the group. So within the Petron group, we've got HR there. I think, I don't know, in terms of managing people, it's just people, isn't it? So
I think the good thing is that you've used the resources that you had available when you started off, and you've gone to the Chamber and you've gone to people that are in the know. I think that's the key thing. I think the key message, really, that you're sending, that you do it right, you get the right people in to do it.
And I think that's one of the big change points, obviously, when we first took our first employee on, but one of the other big changes was when we actually got somebody in to do our bookkeeping, because to start with, I was doing the bookkeeping because there were two of us, and I'm not a bookkeeper, I'm an engineer, I don't know anything about bookkeeping. So that was, it's kind of recognizing at which points you can kind of get somebody else in to do the jobs that they do and bring the expertise in when you need to. I don't think when you're really small, I don't think you necessarily can, because you can't load a business with overhead instantly. But I think it's recognizing when the point is when you can put that overhead into it and you can carry on adding value somewhere else, which is, I think, what we've tried to do.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I think he's right. It's all the skills, isn't it? You're right. I just picked on HR because that's my area, and I know there's a few people on here, but I think you're right. You know, at the right time, move on and get the right people in to do the job. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay.
Brilliant. Thanks again, Colin. Thanks very much. And I will hand over to Dale Goldman and to Carl Badham from LocalIQ. Welcome, guys.
Thanks, Sharon. Sharon, I was hopeful, having seen the growth that Colin just talked about, that we might have gone before him rather than after him. So probably makes me slightly glad that we're going to take if you don't mind, just a slightly different tact, Sharon, about what we do. So what we've done is we've interweaved kind of our growth, because I work in the publishing industry, and we'll talk to you a little bit about our business shortly. And like many industries and verticals, we've seen some exceptional challenges over the course of the last kind of 10 years, in particularly the last year. So I think for me, what wanted to use this as an opportunity to do, Sharon, is talk a little bit about the growth we've experienced, because what we found is real change in terms of how consumers are kind of seeking out and digesting news content. And we're living and breathing that every day. But I think at the same time, from our perspective, hopefully on the basis that we're kind of immersing ourselves, speaking to thousands of SMEs across our group on a daily basis about marketing strategies, it's particularly topical right now in terms of where we are, but we can share a bit of best practice around that, and maybe just some kind of industry insights that may help some of the guys may not do on the call. So that's the kind of tact that we're going to take from ours. Carl, you're going to share a screen if that's okay, and I'll do some intros in a second. I've passed the test, Sharon, already. Not yet. No one's mentioned that anyone's on mute yet, so we're doing a good job. Okay, so thanks, Carl. So I think the idea for us, guys, is that there's been such polarity in terms of a marketing approach of marketing strategies during lockdown. At one end of the scale, you've got so many people who are just in a position where huge swathes of their team are on furlough. They're battening down their hatches just to kind of, and they can't take on extra work. And at the other end of the scale, you've got people who potentially have to increase the effectiveness of their marketing campaigns to survive, and kind of loads of people in between. And like I'd mentioned, our business, which I'll come on to talk to you about shortly, is talking to thousands of SMEs on a daily basis, and across our entire network. And I think it puts us relatively well placed to probably share some of the challenges that other SMEs have been getting, and maybe sharing some of their stories of how they've grown during the period of the pandemic. We also get to share with you some relatively questionable PowerPoint creation skills. So hopefully our marketing insights are a little bit stronger. So Carl, I sound a little bit like Boris Johnson. If we can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So I think it's just a quick look over, guys, in terms of what we're actually going to cover. The meat and bones, really, of the presentation, 80% really, is time focused on, like I said, insights from the industry and from other businesses who've kind of been on a growth journey and been able to share some best practice to the world that we find ourselves in today, and we'll sandwich that either side of just a quick overview of who we are and our business, and maybe if we get the time at the end, just a couple of takeouts in terms of things that people maybe can take away and do as actions from here. I use the word our. I wasn't as brave as Colin because he's come on his own. I've come with a bit of backup, so safety in numbers. So I've got a guy, Sharon had introduced him, Carl Badham. I'm not sure because I can only see a couple of people on my screen. If everyone can see Carl, or if he's hidden behind a PowerPoint. But Carl, is that Wi-Fi signal in Hereford working okay?
It is. Morning, everybody.
Good man. Okay. So folks, I'm Dale Godliman, and as Sharon said at the start, I'm a sales director for our commercial arm of our business in the region. And from Carl's perspective, Carl's a guy Carl's the brains of the operation, really. So he's the guy that leads the team of digital experts who are kind of well versed in the dark arts of digital marketing. So in terms of the content we go through. Carl's going to give you really the meat on bones of kind of the good stuff that's been happening in some of the stories that we've got of SMEs that we deal with who've been enjoying real success during the course of the last 9 months. Carl, if we can just flip through, that'd be great. So some of you guys may recognise on the call with some familiar faces, which is nice to see. Loads of new faces that I haven't met before. Some of you may recognise our business-to-business brand of LocalIQ. Some of you may never heard that before. Most people would recognise our business as a company name of NewsQuest, or even on a more hyper-local level, certainly in our communities, Hereford Times or the Worcester News or the Malvern Gazette. So our business is owned by an American-based business called Gannett and have been for the last 25 years. And within our kind of product solution mix, if you like, there's a whole plethora of different types of product sets, typical print publishing, newspapers such as the Hereford Times or the Worcester News, lifestyle magazines that some of you might have seen out in the community, digital channels, social media channels. We host events. The guys that own us, Gannett, are commercial partners with Google, with Microsoft and with Facebook. So what that enables us to do, it gives us an opportunity to use those channels really to take solutions to market. So it won't be very typical for us 15 years ago to deal with the Chamber, I use as an example, and we may have done some advertising for those guys across the Hereford Times and the Worcester News newspapers traditionally. Whereas if we fast forward 15 years, for people like the Chamber and other organisations and SMEs, that product solution mix that we help them in with our own marketing strategies covers those print publications, online, magazines, Facebook, Google and Microsoft. There's a couple of stats in the top left hand corner there. I won't read through those. Carl hasn't made those up. They're genuine stats, so they give you a bit of a flavour in terms of the audience reach that we have across our network. And and that just hopefully gives a little bit of a flavour. If I bring it to a hyper local level, this is probably where it makes a bit more sense to most of the people on the call. Carl, if we flick to the next slide, please. Cool. So I'm not going to reel off all the brands, folks, but I'm sure depending on where you live, if you live within the 2 counties, you'll be familiar with some of those news brands. And I think for us, the growth certainly that we can talk about comes into the audience growth we've experienced. And I'm just going to kind of walk you through really in the last few years how that's worked for us. So loads of local brands there you see, and loads of those brands have been embedded in communities for, well, actually hundreds of years in terms of where we are. Carl, I think we're a bit pushed on time, but I'm just going to throw out a very quick quiz question, not necessarily for answering verbally, guys, but you can use the chat channel. So we're actually, one of the jewels in the NewsQuest crown, if you like, is the fact that we have the world's oldest newspaper, with a slight caveat of being in English language in continuous production. But the Barrows Worcester Journal actually has published for longer than any other newspaper. So without any Googling, guys, I bought some alcohol. So there's a free bottle of alcohol. There is actually some alcohol in the box. It might still have a security tag on it, I'm not sure, but it'll be winging its way to the first person to get the correct answer. So guys, if just as we're going through this presentation, feel free to use the chat channel. If you want to have a stab at a guess at what year the Barrows Journal was first published, either the person who's nearest to pin or the person who gets the correct answer first will win the bottle of Moët, which will be winging its way in the post to you. Hopefully someone will have a go at it. John, good man. Thank you very much. At least someone started. I was thinking maybe no one will have a go. Keep going through, folks. And as I kind of finish my slides, I'll keep you up to speed in terms of where we are. So as everyone's doing that, there's probably a couple of key stats that would be that I think are really pertinent for us to share. Is, you know, the transition of people consuming news content has been an exponential growth in terms of them digesting that online for a host of different reasons that I'm pretty sure that everybody on the call could contribute to and have an understanding of. I think a couple of key takeouts for us is there are still, you know, a lot of people say print is dead and newspaper readerships have been declining since 1982. That's a fact. There are still in the 2 counties 300,000 people a week who are reading news in the printed form from our channels. In addition to that, you can see the figure in the bottom right hand corner is that on a weekly basis now we have nearly 2 million people accessing our content via our news brands online, and actually in some of our markets as much as 90% of the overall audience now comes from people accessing the content in a digital fashion. So for us as a business, it's been a huge challenge about because typically our model has been 80% based on a guaranteed print audience. And there's a couple of stats on the left hand side there, which I would be remiss of me not to give a tiny bit of airtime to. So I think the perception can always be with newspaper publishers that the audience has got much smaller than what it used to be. Well, in print is absolutely the truth. Whereas actually, if you look at a kind of a combined cumulative audience of print online, we're in a growth market. So we've got a 40% increase in growth against 5 years ago. And what that means for us is we're in a position where more people are accessing our content to consume news than ever before. So for us, that's great news. For our advertisers, that's great news. But it's brought about with it a number of challenges. And I think a final stat from me is just around the bottom one there that you see, 79%. So we're really blessed in the markets in Herefordshire and Worcestershire that we have really well embedded news publications and news brands. And that penetration of nearly 8 out of 10 people who live in the 2 counties accessing or consuming our content in some way, shape or form, print, magazine or digital, is a really strong proposition for us to take to market. Okay, so I see there's a few stabs in there, guys, in terms of years. I'll just familiarise myself with that in a second, see if anyone's got that. Thank you for no Googling. Carl, next slide, please.
Cool. I'll actually jump in at this point then, Dale, if that's okay. So if anyone's not really noticed, it is the year 2021. Okay, with everything that's going on, I'm sure the years are kind of a bit of a blur. But what we know is that one of the key things certainly for smaller SMEs, it is kind of an old habit really. Whenever we're in a recession or we go through a pandemic such as this, the first thing that people do is cancel all advertising. And that's a natural thing to consider with everything else that's going on within individuals' businesses. But there are some really key takeout points for those small businesses to say, look, actually, a lot of the bigger guys, for example, will reduce spend during that period. So what that enables those smaller SMEs to do is actually cut through the noise and actually get a little bit more of that market share and be a little bit more vocal. Not only that, but you know, they get an opportunity to benefit from reduced marketing prices or costs, etc. Because you know, marketing prices drops during periods as such. So it's really important that businesses understand the reasons why and how that they can benefit to marketing during periods like this. And obviously that's our job to advise and share best practice really. But let's have a look at sorry, I didn't realize they were animated. Let's have a look at during this current pandemic how businesses have actually changed. So this is a bit of a demographic really that shows us kind of 4 key areas, and I'm sure all of us can probably relate to this or certainly know people or businesses that are in similar situations. So 28% of businesses are classed as hibernators during the current period or during lockdowns such as this. Essentially what that means is large sections of retail and the hospitality industry, they're closed. There's nothing they can do about it, that there's no real adaptation that they can do to their business model, and they fall within that category of business. 32% of businesses are survivors. You know, people like local shops who are keeping their doors open, but typically reliant on the bricks and mortar, and they've not really got any online presence. 6% are in the bracket of thrivers. They're in-demand businesses such as Zoom, like we're on right now, certainly taken a large market share during the last 8 months or a little further. And 21% of businesses are classed as pivoters. So they've actually adapted their business model over the last 8 months from a typically bricks and mortar point of view and moved into a more e-commerce platform and diversifying and spreading their word using marketing tools like we've advised, going back to the previous slide really. So just want to look at some market insights really. So since really 2010, in the fact of 10 years, 20% growth in online sales, and in May 2020, a third of all retail sales were actually made online. That's a staggering exponential growth. And it's not typically limited to one sector. The only thing that graph does exclude is automotive fuel, but everything else is included. And it just goes to show how important it is for businesses to, using the previous slide, but pivot into the online market, certainly from a retail perspective, and transition into an e-commerce model. I just think that's a pretty staggering stat, really. Yeah, the growth is absolutely surreal. And when we look at the numbers itself, online retail sales overall in 2020, as I said, we are in 2021, grew by 16.3%. That's an £8 billion growth. And sales of bricks and mortar in retail in total fell by just shy of 20%, £18 billion compared to the year previous in 2019. I think there's some staggering stats, really, and just something to consider. I absolutely love this quote. It's from Jim. Apologies, I can't pronounce his surname. Feel free to unmute yourselves if you want to give it a go. But I certainly can't pronounce his surname. But Jim, he's the Vice President of Sales and Service at Google. And I'll just articulate, if I may, but if businesses are not visible online when people are doing their homework, believe me, they'll find others who are. I think that's a pretty powerful stat and statement. We just want to look at some tips and tricks, really, and we're certainly sharing it, and we're doing some growth forums ourselves and some webinars for smaller SMEs around the counties. And one of the key things you probably would have noticed over the Christmas period, Google spent a significant amount of money. I think it was Anthony Joshua, I think it was the main person on the TV advertising campaign around claiming your Google My Business page. And it certainly is a great way to dominate your online market, or certainly get a larger share for that. And it's free. There's absolutely no cost to it whatsoever. And there are certainly some benefits to that. I just want to go through a couple of those. 3 out of 4 shoppers, I'm sure we can all relate to it. The first place we go is Google on our phone. I'm sure there may be some of us on the call that uses alternate search engines, but 3 out of 4 shoppers will search online to find a business first, and you'll all be familiar with the different ways in which Google presents themselves on different devices. 92% of searches are actually made via Google. I appreciate that last year Bing spent a ridiculous amount of money in their advertising campaign to try and get a larger market share on that, and in fact it became the default browser on certain products. But Google still has a massive market share, as we would imagine. In fact, I'm sure we're all familiar with the term "I'll Google it," which is a common phrase now in the English dictionary. But you know, there's some huge benefits to claiming your free business or claiming your Google My Business page. And I'm not sure if everyone's aware, but I'm sure you are. But in 2017, Google opened its post feature. What does that look like, I hear you say? Well, I'm not sure if that shows it very well, but the post feature there, essentially you tend to find it when you're on Google Maps. So I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with the way in which that works, but if you search it for a place on Google Maps where you're heading, if you swipe up, you tend to get images and pictures like that's demonstrated on the right-hand side. And that's a great tool to use in highlighting new lines of menus for takeaways, or it could be an upcoming event that a business has got, or to update on a recent company change. It's a growing tool that Google's using and putting it across multi-platforms, but it's a great way to share information and engage with audiences as well. That's a great example of how it's shown on Google Maps. We've been working with loads of SMEs, as you would imagine, tens of thousands over the last couple of months. And then here's a great example, J. Hutchinson Butchers. Mr. Hutchinson essentially was a typical bricks and mortar butchers. We helped him change his website around. become e-commerce. We helped him set up his Google My Business page. We did it, well, ticked all the boxes, if you like. And incredibly, he actually secured £1,800 in paid orders within his first month. That was on top of everything else that he'd normally be doing. That was within the first 3 weeks of his website going live. A great testimonial there from Stuart as well. Over 200 orders placed within the first month. An incredible journey for Stuart, and it just goes to show that Stuart's probably within that pivoter bracket that we alluded to a little earlier on. From a verification point of view, I mean, if it's you guys or if it's anyone you know or any business owners that you know locally, Google My Business is a free tool to use. If anyone at any stage needs any support on that, feel free to push them in our direction. We'd be more than happy to help support in setting that up. It's a free tool. We don't charge for any help or support like that whatsoever. It's a free tool, but if you need any advice on that, feel free to give us a shout.
I think, guys, in the interest of fact, we've just got a minute or so to go. I'm going to skip through the next few slides really quickly because someone wants to know who's won that champagne. I'm absolutely certain. So I think there's a couple of relevant points there. I mean, Carl, you used the example to say, but from our perspective, we're here. We have a big team of people who are living and breathing some of the challenges of all of the SMEs that we deal with, are able to help and support. And I think, I know the slides will be sent out separately, so we'll probably skip over the last couple of slides. There's a couple of key things in there, so just two quick takeaways from me, guys, if we can do. I think the first one is the importance of using those free tools. Many people say to us, but actually generating business and stimulating revenue, creating awareness costs us money. Well, in the grand scheme of things, yes, it can do, but there are so many people out there who aren't using the free tools that are at their disposal. And Carl's just run through a couple of examples of those. Carl, if you flick to the next slide for us, please. I think I just want one really quick plug from me, folks. If I can do, the URL that you see at the bottom of the screen there's an opportunity there at absolutely no charge whatsoever for you to get your business details syndicated across 1,000 different websites at absolutely no charge. And if you don't remember the website URL, you can click onto the Worcester News or Hereford Times. There's a really clear link to say add yourself to the directory. Absolutely no charge, no catch from that perspective. And all of those things you see on that slide are things that Carl's kind of covered that actually don't cost a penny. It's interesting. Only 44% of businesses have claimed their Google My Business listing. When we look at people's Google Analytics, what we see very clearly is many people have actually are getting a better response from a Google My Business detail than what they are from their own website. So my one piece of advice, if nothing else, folks, would be to claim my Google My Business. There are loads of material out there to help you how you do it. It's relatively straightforward, and like Carl said, we're certainly happy to help from that perspective if we need to. And Carl, if you can just flick to the last slide, that'd be great. Okay, and from our point of view, folks, going back to that point which says about we're here to help, as an absolute no obligation, completely free of charge for any chamber members. If anybody is interested in how their website's performing or how their business digital footprint's performing, we're happy to do some work and provide that information to you at absolutely no charge whatsoever. I think the points you'll see on the side are pretty clear. There'll be some contact details that we'll supply later on in terms of anyone wants to reach out. Like I say, there's no obligation. It'll give you a bit of an overview of how you're performing against your competitors. One last point in there, if I may, with the last 20 seconds, guys, is to say that as someone who lives in the community and works in the community, I'm really proud about where I live and where I work. And I think one of the humbling things for me is across our news brands is over the last 12 months, we've given some exceptional coverage to businesses who have got a real story to tell about how they've evolved, real ingenuity, real creativity. And actually, from a reader perspective, that content is really well received. So if anyone's got any positive stories about how your businesses or people that you know, business owners that you know, have adapted to the challenges that the last 12 months have provided, then please share with us, because we'd love to give that some airtime across our channels, whether it's awards or anniversaries or just general great news about something that's happened. Please reach out, because from our perspective, that's stuff that we love to give content to. Okay, Sharon, there's a final point on there, but if I may, as part of any slides what I sent out afterwards, we're looking for feedback from anybody in the communities across the two counties who have been providing support and care to people in real need of support and care over the last 12 months. You've all seen nationally and locally some exceptional coverage given to people who've provided help and support to those in the communities. There have been some heartbreaking and heartwarming stories, and we've got in our communities some unbelievable individuals and organisations who've gone above and beyond. And last year in Herefordshire, we launched our Health and Care Awards, which were fantastically received. We're doing the same in Worcestershire this year. We love to hear from people who have got stories to tell around that of anyone that they know. And if any organisations would love to partner and be involved as part of our exposure, we'd obviously be open-minded to do that. So Sharon, conscious we've gone a couple of minutes over, and for everybody, forgive me, guys. Thank you very much for staying with us. Obviously, the real reason for staying with us is to know who's won the champagne. So actually, I'm warmed by the fact that there's actually some really close guesses there, so some good knowledge out in the community. So a couple of people, Alison was really close, Robert was really close, but actually the closest person, who was only 2 years away, so the actual year that the Bearers Journal first published and has done every year, every week, was 1690. So congratulations, a round of applause for Miguel. Yeah, good man, Miguel. This is coming your way. It definitely hasn't got the security tag on it. I did check. So Miguel, I'll reach out to you and grab your address to get it sent on to you. Congratulations, and folks, thanks everyone for listening. Really appreciate it, and thanks for having us, Sharon and team.
Thanks, Dale, and thanks, Carl. Thank you both so much for your presentation. And yeah, sorry you had to skip through a few slides. You knew you liked to talk, didn't you, Dale? So you knew where time was going to go on this one. The most important thing I think we can do just in the last 1 minute of winding up is send out those slides, which I'm sure we can do, can't we, Hayley? And also perhaps your contact details, and then any of the questions you've posed to us, or if someone wants to get in touch about some of the tools that you've provided us with and shared with us, that we can all use, we can get in touch. So that would be great. Thank you very much. Thanks to everyone for coming. Thanks very much again to Colin. Real inspirational case study there of your growth. And again to Dale and Carl for sharing those tools with us, and to Adam for helping us to put this forum on. So hopefully it's been useful to you all, and well done. I think final well done has to be to Miguel, really. So nice to see you all. Thanks very much for coming, and thank you everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.